Blog Talk Radio.
Franchise interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews. Welcome to Franchise Interviews, an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship. Listen to interviews with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And now, welcome your host, Marty McDermott, and Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 15 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, and I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show. We're meeting with Adenah Bayoh, the co-founder of Cornbread Farm to Soul, and founded in 2017 by co-founders Adenah Bayoh and Zadie Smith. Cornbread specializes in mouth-watering soul food creations such as baked mac and cheese, collard greens, yams, chicken, signature cornbread, and other specialty menu items. We're going to talk to Adenah about that in just a moment on Franchise Interviews. Stick around because we have a great show.
Franchise Teacher.
Would you like to know how to franchise your concept or grow your franchise business?
Meet the experts at Franchise Teacher.
The goal of Franchise Teacher is to teach, coach, consult, and advise. The team of experts at Franchise Teacher will evaluate your business model and present you with a winning business strategy.
Franchise Teacher will help you decide whether or not your concept works and if it's franchisable. Franchise Teacher is proud to have over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors.
Franchise Teacher are developers of over a dozen franchise systems, which include brick and mortar as well as home-based concepts of nearly 3,000 combined franchise locations.
Whether you need to add more units or get more customers, Franchise Teacher can help. We will teach.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn our proven system.
Coach.
Franchise Teacher will help you provide a game plan to succeed.
Consult.
Franchise Teacher will make sure you stay on track.
And advise.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn from our over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors. Take advantage of our free, no-obligation phone consultation. Simply go to franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
That's franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
Hi, this is Connie McDermott, Administrative Assistant for Franchise Interviews, LLC, and you're listening to Franchise Interviews.
Franchise Interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.
I wanted to talk about the history of Cornbread Farm to Soul, Adenah, but it was when I was studying your background, I thought that might be probably a good place to start because your background is very impressive. I mean, you're no stranger to franchising, are you?
No, I'm not. I'm really not. I actually love franchising as a concept. It really has helped me get into this business of restaurants and really minimize my risk profile.
Yeah. And, I mean, even more than that, I think you were a multi-unit franchisee, too, weren't you, Adenah, or are?
I am. I own multiple IHOPs.
Wow. That's impressive.
Market. Thank you. Yeah.
And I love IHOP. IHOP is great, isn't it? What a wonderful brand.
It's an iconic brand. It's, one of those that if you're young and you're starting out in this business, it's one of those brands that you aspire to be.
Yes,
a brand
right.
for 67 years.
Yeah.
In today, society, that's not anything to take lightly. You
No.
know?
It is not.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic place. It's a fun place. It's part of our lives. And so then at some point, Adenah, you and your business partner, I think it was Zadie, I guess you had this idea for Cornbread Farm to Soul. So how did that whole thing even come about then?
You know, fundamentally I believe that I always wanted to be disruptive. And you know, some of my, when I think about business, some of the people that I look up to are people like Steve Jobs, where you have to be in the industry and you're looking to have an impact and to change it. You have to believe that you can make a change and that you can and by God's chance, you might actually be able to do that, make those differences. So when I came into IHOP, I love IHOP. I love the pancakes. And the market I was serving was really an underserved market. My restaurant typically in underserved neighborhoods, the neighborhoods, and the populations there, they eat uniquely. And one of the biggest challenges that I got when I got into IHOP was my demographic was predominantly African American and Latino, and breakfast for us is completely different, right?
Sure.
So that's like, can I have grits with cheese? Like, no, let's not grits with cheese. Or I'll get requested like, can I have catfish? Can I have chicken and waffle, fried waffle? And you know, it went on, and I just started selling those items. In the beginning, I did it without permission, and IHOP got really pissed, and we came to an agreement where,
great.
You know, I'm a little rebel, but in a good way. And IHOP interjected, but we came to a really good compromise. Yeah. But I just had this real nagging nudge that I need to do this, and I need to do this in a capacity with freedom. I need to concept that I have in my mind that is going to really take those unique staples, the collard greens, the chicken and waffle, the amazing fried chicken, the mac and cheese, the collard greens, the barbecue ribs, and really build a unique concept around it that I can, you know, dive into and take it around the country. And really, it was really from that perspective that Cornbread Farm to Soul was born. I wanted to be disruptive. I wanted to make this something unique. I wanted to speak to different demographics, but still have everybody included in the conversation. Yeah. And that's what you have when cornbread is it's a big, unique brand.
How did you start it with your business partner Zadie, Adenah? Is that how it came about? I mean, did you both? It sounded like you're both co-founders to the organization. So it sounded like she was on board with this idea as well, wasn't she?
She was. You know, Zadie is from the South. She is from 50, Georgia. Wow. And when I thought about this concept, cornbread, I wanted an amazing culinary brain behind it. I wanted somebody to speak the language of food. Yes. I want someone that their love language is food. Yes. And with Zadie and the food at Cornbread, that's where you get. Her love language is, she's always trying to feed you. I always say to I'm trying to lose weight, I can't be around Zadie. So,
that's great. That's funny.
She was in a different business. She was in daycare, but was just really dived into food. She loved food so much that she would home cook the meals for the children at her daycare. Wow. And her son at the time just happened to be a child at her daycare. And she would send home these amazing food. And I just one day approached her and was like, I have this idea. I want to open this concept. And to partner with me. I want you to be the culinary genius behind this concept. It's already out. And long story short, 5-6 years later, here we are. Wow. it's amazing what two brilliant minds that are intentional can do when they come together.
It sounds like it was a great match, you two coming together, wasn't it, Adenah?
Oh, it was amazing. One of the best decisions I've made is to pull Zadie into the concept.
That's wonderful. I made sure before I spoke to you today, I ate lunch because I said, I'm going to get hungry talking to you. When I was looking at the menu, I said, I don't think I can go through another hour talking about, baked macaroni and cheese and yams and chicken and cabbage. I said, I can't. So I said, I'm going to eat lunch early today so I can focus on this interview, because it's so different too, Adenah, because I've been doing the show now for 15 years. I've interviewed so many pizza franchises, so many hamburger franchises, but nothing like your concept. I mean, and that's a lot to say for, 800 interviews. I said, wow, this is something really different. Like you said, and you mentioned, you have this nice niche in the market. It's so unique, and I think that's fantastic. So when you're talking to, like, let's say, an aspiring franchisee, like they might express interest in Cornbread, Adenah, how do you typically describe the concept to them? You mentioned a lot of the key points, but is there anything else?
I think, you're coming into a concept that from inception has been built with a franchise mind, from a franchisee perspective, right?
Yes.
Different here is that I am a franchisee and I built this concept. So you're coming into something that from the gate is built for you.
Right.
The unit economics make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The amazing thing about Cornbread is how wildly successful and crazy it has been received.
Right.
We opened our doors in Brooklyn, I want to say 3 months ago, and we are already profitable within 3 months.
Wow. Oh my, that's amazing.
Well, we're having an amazing, amazing time when we open this. When we open these stores, it just say the need for this food is pent up.
Right.
We're talking about amazing food where the ingredients are very intentional.
Yes.
I am someone that is very, very intentional about what I put in my body. So when I handcrafted the ingredients for our Big Mac and cheese, it's a 24-hour process. Brine and it's just been amazing. And for me, that's the success for me.
Right.
It's going into communities, opening our door, integrating ourselves within those communities. Yeah. And the universe just really allowing us to be aligned with the people that are walking through our doors. It's been fantastic.
Because like you said earlier, I mean, food is culture, isn't it, Adenah? I mean, that's how I've always thought food. It's a big part of our culture, isn't it?
Absolutely. And when you think about soul food, I say to people, soul food is American cuisine.
Yeah.
We don't spend pizza. Pizza is not from here.
Right.
We didn't, tacos is not from here. Right. Soul food is American cuisine. This is what we own. And I want to be authentic about it. I want to pride be there that we own this. This is American food, and we have to do it right. And people coming into this concept, understanding that you are coming into a concept that has history, that has the ability to transform communities, that have abilities to bring people into this franchise system that historically haven't thought franchising worked for them because it was this unreachable CEO. I'm very relatable, I'm a girl from the streets of Newark and Newark Public School, Newark Public Housing, that ultimately took business as a route. And I'm always looking to reach those people that are a part concept that they can do certain things because of that economic background. And I'm always here to, you would be amazed how powerful your life can change with some ingenuity and some hard work.
Right. It seems like your advantage. I was going to say your advantage too, Adenah, because when I was studying, it's so it's unusual for me, as long as I've been doing this podcast, to have a franchisee create a concept. It seems like you're at an advantage because you can put yourself in the franchisee's shoes because you've done it, right? And not all franchisors can say that, and I just think it's such a wonderful advantage. So you think of things like you were saying earlier, unit economics. I've even seen clips of you on YouTube giving advice, on buying a franchise and things like that. I just thought everything you said was very powerful, but your experience is your advantage for Cornbread, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think a couple of advantages that I sort of pack and punch in here is I've been on both sides of the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm, this restaurant is packed with females that are in supporting roles. My goal is to bring more women into the franchise system because it's such a wealth creator, right?
Yes.
And speaking from a perspective of a female that is a mother, that is a wife, that say, yes, you too can be boss, right?
Yes,
and
right.
That is going to support you in all of that and make sure that you're successful because I'm going to bring you in and give you the services that wasn't afforded to me. I'm going to give my mistakes so you don't have to make them.
Right. It's very powerful. How do you use, is technology used in the business model, Adenah?
Oh my God, we are technology. We're on Lunchbox. We are ordering kiosks.
Wow.
We are, from day one when franchisees come in, we're giving them the playbook. You need yourself a good accountant, a good attorney, and a good bookkeeping. You need to wash your units, your daily. You need to wash your daily because if you don't wash your business, things are going to leave out the back door and sometimes the front door, right? We have apps. We have, you name it, we're on third party.
Yeah.
So it was born in the age of technology, so we're living it.
Right.
I think majority of our orders are takeout.
Mm-hmm.
So we roll out units, we're designing them where it is takeout friendly, but also these beautiful, if you look at our Brooklyn store, it's a beauty. It's a beautiful store, right?
Wow. Right.
That's what I want fast casual to be beautiful again. I want you to walk there either in a suit or a hoodie and still feel comfortable.
Right. It's incredible. And, I'm thinking about, because I've interviewed so many food franchises over the years, Adenah, but I've never interviewed your particular category. So I'm thinking of like the industry because there's got to be such a demand for your product, and I'm just thinking, there's got to be tremendous growth in your industry as well.
Absolutely, because when you look at, and I'm not going to get into numbers because this is what it's about, but if you're contact hours in Brooklyn doing Chick Shack, Chick-fil-A numbers, it just goes to speak to you that we are pent up, that people want this food, but they want it done in a very unique way. They want to make sure you're not putting a bunch of salt in your food. You want to make sure that your collard greens, our collard greens is 3 ingredients. Collard greens, onion, pepper, and we don't cook with salt.
Wow.
And it's probably the best collard green you're ever going to have.
Wow.
Hands down. Our sauteed cabbage, I eat it every day.
Wow.
So the food is good.
Right.
And when we're talking about food and cornbread, we would never lose. We would never lose.
It is. It's very impressive. So what's been, it's probably a tough question to answer, Adenah, but one of the questions we like to ask someone like yourself is like, what's been one of the most interesting things that's happened to you since launching Cornbread? I imagine you probably have 1,000 stories, but does anything really stand out since you've launched the brand?
Yes. The thing that most stand out to me was just a few months ago. One of my managers called me, and there was a lady, an older black lady. She had driven maybe hours to come to Cornbread to celebrate her. And she was crying, and she said, I'm so grateful for you for putting this here. Yes. I've been waiting for something like this for a long time. And she started crying.
Wow.
And this lady with her daughter celebrating her birthday, and my staff was putting me on the phone so this lady can share her gratitude with me. And that is what this is about for me, is having the people that came before me look at Cornbread and be proud.
Right.
The Madam C.J. Walker that built empires with not even a fraction of the resources that I have today.
Right.
You know, the entrepreneurs, the misfits, the ones that thought they could actually change the world and actually did.
Right.
Those ones I want to look back and say, yes, she is having a profound impact on this.
Right. There's an emotional aspect to your brands that you don't always get with a lot of other. It's interesting how you mentioned, Adenah, that woman. She drove quite a far distance to get to Cornbread, and I could see a lot of your customers doing that. You know, and you can't say that for a lot of other. You know, you wouldn't drive, 40 miles for a hamburger. You know what I mean? But you would.
Right.
For your concept, you know what I mean? So it's interesting, like you said, there's an emotional aspect for your customers in coming to Cornbread, isn't there?
Absolutely. Because for a very long time, they haven't seen the attention given to the staffment of the food.
Exactly.
So, and here we are, someone that says unapologetically, it's soul food, it's cornbread, and it's going to be the best you've ever had. So,
right, exactly. Yeah. So when you decided to franchise the concept, Adenah, I mean, did you have like something in mind as far as like your franchisees? I mean, like, so what's important to you in taking on a new franchisee? You mentioned, that women, sounds like a particular interest for your franchisees. But so like, what's important to you in taking on a new franchisee?
I think what's important to me is your heart.
Yeah.
I think if your heart is in anything, I always say the heart is like the kitchen of your body.
Sure.
I want people coming into Cornbread that have aligned vision, aligned, mission of understanding that we want to be impactful. We want to be the first African-American-led franchise group that's focused on soul food, right?
Right.
And I want you to come and add to that, right? And your heart has got to be in it. Your heart got to be in it. So when I think about the ideal person for the ideal franchisee for Cornbread, is someone that have been in the industry, that have nurtured their, business acumen, and now want to branch off and do something impactful,
Right.
And, I tell people all the time, I'm not selling cornbread. I'm selling hope.
Yes.
I'm selling hope for the future. I'm telling you the hope that everything is going to be okay. You just need to get through today, right?
Right.
And I'm telling you that we are going to be okay, no matter what's happening to us. So long that we have this unwavering belief that we are going to be okay, we will be just fine.
Right. I can see, too, I was just thinking of this, Adenah, because when we were talking about technology, I imagine that a lot of your customers, because there is a lot of emotion attached to cornbread, that they would share their experience on social media. Have you found that?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. We have, I think, almost 30,000 followers on social media. And
that's incredible.
We just had a customer did a video of her experience at Cornbread that got close to 1 million views.
Wow.
I think it's about 900, close to 1 million views, right?
That's incredible.
And they're constantly sharing their experience, and it's amazing to watch. Watch stop.
Right. Wow.
And it's a affair. It's a love affair,
Right.
And just a little gratitude for my son is it's emotional for me to watch sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It really is, because the gratitude out of me is sometimes unbearable.
Right. And so this concept, you knew, Adenah, that you could franchise this concept, that it could be duplicated throughout the whole country. So what is the training like? I mean, how would that work for someone, like if they wanted to become a franchisee to Cornbread? Would they come to like a corporate kind of setting?
Yep.
Is that how it works? Okay.
Absolutely. You're coming to one of our stores, either in New Jersey or Brooklyn.
Okay. Right.
Spending about with us. And we are showing you the culture and also giving you the support that you're coming into a family. That this is just not any other franchise system. You're number this, you're number that. You're coming into a family that deeply care about you.
Yes.
And the best for you, your family, and your family are people that work for you, the people of your community, and to really push you to be a change agent in your community. And don't just go out there and cornbread. Sell hope.
Yeah.
Inspire somebody else to do great things for themselves.
I like how you use the word family, and I've even seen you in previous interviews, Adenah, like you've kind of compared franchising to a marriage to some extent, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It absolutely is. This is a 10, 15-year marriage, and sometimes longer if you're lucky.
Right.
I've been in the system for over 15 years.
And
still in love, right? So the selection process has to be very intentional and grueling. Not everyone is going to be a cornbread franchisee. Not everyone. Not everyone is going to be a step. We're going to be very exceptional. People talk about how to become a Chick-fil-A. That's our model. It's very hard to be a cornbread.
Wow. Which says a lot about the brand, that how much you care about the brand, and you want your franchisees to be equally as successful, and you wouldn't take them on if they didn't have that passion or love for the brand, it sounds like.
Yes, because restaurants, not just franchises, they take up a great part of your life.
Right.
They take up a great deal of your life. And you just have to be okay with that. That's the only way this works. If not, you are going to check out within the first 6 months.
Right, exactly. So I was mentioning earlier, Adenah, I saw this video of you on YouTube, and you were giving this great advice to people who are interested in buying a franchise. What advice would you give to our listeners? Because the majority of our listeners are individuals who express an interest in buying a franchise, but there's so much out there today to choose from that it becomes rather difficult. You knew early on, it seemed like, what brand you were attracted to and what you liked, but not everybody does. So from everything you've learned up to this point, what advice would you give to our listeners in their quest to buy a franchise?
Oh, that's a great question. The first one is you have to love the brand.
Yes.
I love with every facet of my body.
Right.
I love the pancakes. You got to be in love with the brand.
Right. Yeah.
Study the brand and understand, are you guys aligned?
Mm-hmm.
Because when there are alignments, the rest will fall in place.
Yes.
Right? Make
Right.
sure the brands have values and are doing things that are important to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to be the ambassador of that brand once you come into that. So make sure there are value alignment there. I can't stress that enough, right?
Yeah, right.
But I think ultimately the brand.
Yes.
And when your heart is in it, you can do 20 hours a day. You wouldn't even. Sometimes people will have to get me out of my restaurant, and I have never day in my life.
And it was interesting too, because I thought, you mentioned, early on, like things like, unit economics, and because not everybody understands numbers too, Adenah, right? So, I remember you mentioning like, it's okay to get an accountant, or get a franchise attorney, you know what I mean, and have them, look these things over.
It's a must.
Yeah.
It is a must.
Yeah.
Do not do this alone. Get you a really seasoned accountant. Get you a seasoned franchise attorney, and just don't go pick up no general practitioner. Let that focus on franchising.
Yeah.
And build a team around you. I tell the people all the time, I am not the smartest person in the room. My team is.
Right.
My team is. Bring A players around you that you can learn from.
Right. It's powerful. I think it's great advice.
And be flexible on people, but not on procedures and policies.
Ah, I see. Wow, that's powerful.
Go easy on people, but very inflexible on procedures and policies.
Right.
Non-negotiable.
That's franchising, right, Adenah? Is following the procedures, as you mentioned, is so important to the success. So if you could look into a crystal ball, like maybe 1 year or 3 years or 5 years down the road, Adenah, where do you see Cornbread?
When I think about Cornbread, my 5-year vision is to be a leading franchise group in the whole franchise system that has gone public.
Right.
And really, really have an impact in the restaurant industry.
Right.
Be impactful in ways that are just not related to restaurants, but be impactful in that we are looking at people and members of our society that are marginalized and giving them opportunity, be it formerly incarcerated people. Cornbread is heavily involved in hiring formerly incarcerated people.
That's wonderful.
I highly recommend that we look at those people of our society that made mistakes and are now able to be given a second or fair chance. Right. So I would have a real impact 5 years from now at a greater scale in terms of putting a dent in that. But looking back, I want to be a restaurant that we can look back and say, wow, she did that.
Right, of course. I would be interested, too, to see over the course of time, Adenah, if you're even like your employees, you talk about like giving second chances, that your employees maybe someday they could be franchisees, couldn't they?
Oh, that's already in the works.
Wow.
The first franchisees of Cornbread are going to be my employees.
Wow. It makes sense.
Who else to be example of the people that helped build it with me?
Right, of course.
I make more people owners of restaurants. That is my dream. Because I know franchising is a wealth creator, right?
Yep. Yes.
Giving people the ability to own a piece of where they're spending more than 50% of their day is magical. And that's what I want to do with Cornbread.
That's wonderful. What is the best way for our listeners, Adenah, to get more information on Cornbread? Of course, as the franchise opportunity and even the product itself, where they can get it. I know it's kind of New Jersey, New York right now, but any websites you can kind of plug to give our listeners more information?
Oh, yes. We have cornbreadstore.com.
Okay.
You have me on LinkedIn. You have Instagram, Cornbread Store again. You have Facebook. We're all over. I'm on Instagram as well as Adenah Bayoh. I'm on LinkedIn as Adenah Bayoh. A ton of people already reach out to me on LinkedIn. Hey, I'm looking at French. So that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Wonderful. That's great. Well, I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed finally having the chance to talk to you, Adenah, because I've been following you for a while now. You know what I mean? So to have the chance to get to finally interview you today has been a privilege for me, and I would already like to invite you back over the next year or two as you continue to grow, because I think you have a wonderful concept.
Oh, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
This has been my pleasure, Adenah, and we'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Coming up on segment 2, you're going to hear what every entrepreneur needs to know before buying a franchise. We're going to play a clip from our popular Great Quotes in Franchising podcast right here on Franchise Interviews.
Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? Franchise Interviews, an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com. Or you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Hi, everyone. This is Marty McDermott, the president of Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. You know, we've been hosting Franchise Interviews many years now, and during that time we've had some incredible quotes on our show. Today's great quote in franchising comes from Tom Kraus, the CEO of Donato's Pizza. And Donato's is a family-owned, privately held company that treats franchise partners like they're part of their family. In this Great Quote in Franchising podcast, Tom discusses the importance of directing your energy to the right place, and he uses this great analogy called batteries not included. So let's go right into our podcast with Tom Kraus, CEO of Donato's Pizza. What advice would you give them in their quest to buy a franchise?
You know, I think the whole key is putting the right resources in the right spot. So I'll use a quote from one of my old bosses at Wendy's, Jim Neer, who he always talked about batteries not included. And what he meant by that was, you know, if you're going to be a franchisee or a franchise partner, as we call them, you're buying into a system that exists. So don't put your energy trying to change the system or change the recipe or like work that side of the system. Put your energy in bringing your whole self into the business. Bring your energy into leading your people. Bring the energy into building the business in the community or giving back to the community. I've noticed those that are less successful don't put their energy into that, but they're trying to revise something that already is a part of the operating plan that, you know, maybe it's not perfect, but if you're spending your time trying to change the recipe or the operating system, maybe franchising isn't what you want to do. Maybe you want to start your own restaurant. And so I think the key, but more importantly, I think is batteries aren't included. So put your whole energy into building a culture within the organization and building a reputation in the community. That's where you'll win every time. You'll win every time.
Yeah. No, I think that's great advice. I love that analogy, batteries not included. It's about trust, isn't it, Tom? You know, I mean, if you're going to invest into a system, you know, like Donato's, is you have to have that level of trust, don't you? You know, in order to.
Yeah, you really do. And you know, it's not to say that, you know, we really do a lot of collaborating with our franchise system. We have an advisory council, and we meet regularly, and we get advice from them, and they help guide the business. But once we've decided, you know, the what the program is or whatever. Let's go ahead and just execute that program. So
Right. Absolutely. That's fantastic. If you'd like to hear that whole interview with Tom Krause of Donato's Pizza, all you have to do is go to franchiseinterviews.com, go to our franchises listed alphabetically page, and then go to the D section. Or you can go to our franchises listed by category page and go to our food section. And lastly, we'd just like to thank everyone for making our Great Quotes in Franchising podcast such a big hit. Since we've launched our Great Quotes in Franchising podcast, we've had 72,671 downloads, 37,888 RSS clicks, and 727 shared links. So once again, we'd just like to thank everyone for listening, and we'll see you again soon with another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising from Franchise Interviews. Take care, everyone.
Franchise Interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.